So how do you work the interface?
The interface is as simple as our interface with nature, with the world in which we live. Nature does not really whisper into our ears rules for adapting to changes in our life. Nature is not telling me or you how to keep balance, and still we are keeping balance. Nature is not whispering into my ear or your ear how to behave when you go to sleep, when you wake up, and still you get out of bed and your anticipation helps you adapt to the new position in which you're going to function relatively easily. So if we take a cue from our relation to the world in which we live, then we're looking at interfaces that have to be as natural as we are. And that's all that there is.
I would think that was almost physically impossible.
Not only is it possible, but if you take a deeper look at what we do in our days, unfortunately we have the tendency to start in a very complicated way, such as you want a certain machine to do something for you. Then you have to start learning a couple of operations, and you open a manual and you study in order to do what? To have a machine warm up your food if you put it in your microwave. The normal thing would be for you to take whatever you want to warm up and entrust it to that machine together with instructions that you don't have to input anymore on a keyboard, but the machine will read it directly on what you are going to warm up.
Ah. Okay. The small chip that they can put now in most any product, is that a form of anticipatory system?
That is a form that will support in the future more and more anticipatory processes. And the advantage of using various other things, the chip that you mentioned, but also the radio frequency tagging. Radio frequency tagging means that you have on the product that you bought from the store, which you want to warm up, enough information there as to avoid the necessity that you start typing in, get it at 175 Fahrenheit. I gave it there, the instructions are there, I'm going to get it as warm as it's supposed to be, and that's it.
It's already there.
Yeah.
And we can now do that.
I think we can do many more things. We simply don't want to take the most natural path of learning from the living, the things that allow us to function without instructions. You were born, I was born, everyone involved in this program or the viewers are born, and you didn't get a huge manual, this is what you have to do in order to live. Sure, we go through continuous learning, we go through experience. So we want to build machines that in parallel to our learning will learn together with us what we are doing. And in that case, I don't have anymore to serve the machine, let the machine do for me what I need to do, but without putting me in the position to serve it. I don't want to be really the slave of a machine.
So it becomes a service rather than my tool.
It becomes an interaction and not a relation to the tool, because the notion of the tool is a notion of dependency. I don't want to enter any dependencies. We don't enter into more dependencies than those that correspond to the fact that in our interaction, if I do not respect the rules pertinent to a normal interaction, that interaction will break down. Other than that, there is no dependency. There is only a reciprocal respect, and in this case I can say machines built with the lack of understanding for anticipation show disrespect for the human being.
But a machine can't really show disrespect.
Shows disrespect in a figurative way.
Okay.
Those who build it, those who conceived it, conceived it from a perspective in which they said, if you want this function, you will have to learn the rules, otherwise the machine will not do it for you. This is where the disrespect comes in.
Ah, okay. But that can be said now because we have the competence to make the machine learn from us, but could it have been said 50 years ago?
It can be said every time. It can be said in respect to conceiving of a hammer. There are hammers that you take in your hand and you have a very good feeling because they correspond to what my hand is able to do.
Yes.
They correspond to our properties. And there are other hammers that are impertinent. You take in your hand and you find out they are unpleasant hammers.
Yes.
Why should that be? So whether you start with a hammer or with a computer, it really has only to do with the concept behind the, if you want, the design or the conception of a certain object that you want to offer others for use. It's a fundamental position.
It's the entire approach.
It is the approach. It is the approach, and even in our days when we can afford so many more things, the approach is, if they are going to want it, they are going to have to learn the rules. And not only that, the impertinence goes even further. You know that in these days, the new DVD formats are coming into the market. So the idea is the competing factors are saying, it's your problem which standard you're going to approach.
Yes.
I don't want it to be my problem.
Right.
I want it to be their problem, and in respect to us as human beings, in anticipation of my needs. They need to produce a format that I don't have to learn anything about it. I need to use it in the most natural way. Goodbye.
Right. Interesting. Now, I wonder if we've always not been anticipatory.
One cannot say that. There are examples in every culture that I'm familiar with where you see a real respect for the others manifested in making possible anticipatory based interactions. If you look at some of the absolutely amazing examples of tools that people created in certain cultures, those are an expression of the deepest respect for the others. There is a whole lot of anticipation in some of the design that characterized the, let's say, Japanese culture, in which the pleasant form comes together with a very natural way of handling that particular form if you really want to get integrated with it. But we had in every culture also this impertinence of the domination of the machine over the human being. And that is the fundamental question always to be asked.
Even 10,000 years ago when agriculture got started, we had the same question depending on who was making the tool.
We had it less because at that moment, in order to survive, if the anticipation was not there, you had a big problem. And there are cultures that disappeared because they took the wrong turn at a certain moment in the agricultural civilization. So no, at that time the stake was higher. Today we can afford to be impertinent with the others because there are many other mechanisms in society that will compensate for the lack of consideration shown by let's say, some companies that simply come with impertinence to us and say, take it or leave it. It's not it should not be a situation of take it or leave it. It should be a situation of engaging. And this is missing at this moment.
Let's just take a short break and then come back to that. But right now, let's hear about Reading and Radio Resource.
We have a new home for Reading and Radio Resource. We have resettled ourselves into our spacious new building. Now we have ample room for our 300-plus volunteers to work. We're proud of our new home where we read for those who cannot. Come visit, volunteer, or use our services. We're Reading and Radio Resource. Call us at 214-871-7668. online at readingresource.org.